nodding. And I was like, um, I'm already seeing some questions from Shannon. So, Shannon, I'm going to answer these as we go throughout. So, there was lots of questions about the tracker and revenue. We'll talk about income because I think I actually wrote the wrong thing on your tracker. So, we might need to make an update about what I put on the tracker because I learned the difference in the last round about the difference between revenue and income. So, just a heads up. So, that will be coming. Also, I will include information about QuickBooks and things like that as well. So, and yes, outreach means people who I've never met before. So, here we go. Also, that is totally fine, Jess, to meet the new dog walker. Totally fine. Enjoy meeting the new dog walker, and we shall see you afterwards. But in the meantime, we are going to be talking. Oh, look, I did the thumbs up again. So, in the meantime, we are going to be talking about the business and financial tracking. And for those of you that don't know, this lady right here loves a good spreadsheet. If it's color coded, I get bonus points. And so today is going to be a lot of spreadsheet and color coding. Now, if spreadsheets are not your jam and you are like, not sure about how I feel about this, these are in the additional systems. So feel free. Again, we are going to make sure that we are keeping to the essentials. You are also willing and able to shift and either adopt this completely if you are a spreadsheet lover like me. You are also able to adapt this as you see fit, and feel free to abandon this too if this doesn't work for you. So, but I say that to preface things because today we're going to be talking about a lot of different numbers. So let us get into it. Now, as you guys know, we are tracking your income, the funds that your revenue. I almost said income, Sharon. Again, I was like, we're tracking your revenue from your business every single week within your tracker. So we're seeing how much money you're bringing in from new clients and things like that, old clients, payment plans, etc. But I want to talk to you about the importance of doing all of this work not just for our lovely income or our lovely sheet every week, but also for your taxes each year. It just makes it easier if you do it gradually instead of a mad dash to the finish before April 15th. So that is one of the first things that we'll talk about. The second thing we're going to talk about is a formula, how to craft a formula, which is what I talked about last night at the Guarantee Your Goal webinar. I will link it if you guys would like to watch it. Sharon was there live, which was so fun. But it's one of those things that you want to be thinking about. What are the pieces that I want to make my business tick? And how can we actually make sure that it happens for whatever your goals are? And I'm going to be reaching out to you guys this week. And I would love for you, either in the notes of the week or at some point, for you to let me know if you feel comfortable what your goal is. And I'm going to start sharing them with the group each week because I learned some stats about goals and it helps if you write it down, even better if you repeat it weekly. So that is the second thing we'll be talking about. The third thing we will talk about is that lovely rainbow spreadsheet. It is so fun for me, and I will make it fun for you. I was actually like on a podcast and she was like, "You mean you can make systems fun?" And I was like, "Indeed, that is what I mean. That's why we have the color coding. It's joyful." So that is something that we'll be talking about. And then we're actually going to apply it for your audiences as well. I see a new message already. Yes, spreadsheets are my love language too. And it isn't for everybody, but I love it. Tammy as well. So, one of the things that we want to be doing is you want to have a spreadsheet, first off, to just make sure you're on target for your goals. A lot of times, I I want to say that we want to know if you're on target for your goals, but we also don't want to be attached to your target number every month, every week to be the only thing that means that you're going to hit your goals. I will share more about that in a minute. The next thing we want to do is you want to create realistic ideas for future earnings. Next week, we are going to do something called financial projections. It's something that's also called forecasting and other jazzy business things. And all that means is we want to get an idea of what your future of your business is going to look like, not just next month, but 3 months from now, 3 years from now. We want to see what kind of things we can be putting in place. And you want to use this spreadsheet that you're making literally today to help you. The other thing that I want to do is I want to create a business for you that is more predictable and less surprising. So, one of the things that I hope for all of you is to create financial freedom and, um, honestly, like time independence within your business, along with the ability to create as much of an impact with your income and everything like that in the future. One of the things that I do see is that the thing that can be the scariest in business is just the unknown. So, this spreadsheet is to make the unknown known, figure out how to make your business like you can actually see, okay, I know exactly what is working and I know where to tweak it for the future, which I think will be very helpful for all of you. And then the other thing is that money is more enjoyable because you're going to be able to see, oh, immediately, if I am making funds, I can see it being tracked and grow. So this is something that we're going to talk about in a couple weeks, but we want to talk about like your business formula. Every single business has a formula. There is a specific way for every single person for your business to quote unquote work. Now, I say that within quotes because all of your businesses are currently working. But what I mean specifically is to create your revenue goals. What I did will be different than what Teresia does, will be different than what Jess does, Tammy, Sharon, everybody is going to have a different formula for your business. So we all, and that's because we all have different circumstances, again, given. However, I want to give you the things that not only have worked for me, for sure, you're getting all of that in the systems, but also things that have worked for every single one of my clients. So you're going to have things that you're doing that are directly impacting your business and indirectly impacting your business. When we're thinking about the indirect things, those are things that you don't necessarily see a direct profit from it like immediately. For instance, managing leads. You might not see a direct profit from that like right away. When you're planning out your work week, you might not see a direct like correlation. Like I put my calendar together and boom, there's a consult. Doesn't always happen like that, but it still does positively impact your business. Getting your clients results, maybe that will result in testimonials and renewals and referrals later on, but that's not necessarily something that would impact your business, like maybe in the exact moment that you coach your client. Certifications, also great. Doesn't always impact your business directly right away. And of course, getting coached. Like I always feel better after I get coached, but those are things that I do that are outside of it. We're going to call these things that are indirect in your business kind of like your overall energy after doing these kind of things. So you'll see what that means in a second. I just want to give you a little teaser for it. The next piece is the direct things that you're doing. So these are things that are within your control, things that you can do, marketing, selling, teaching, building relationships. Those are all things that are within your control, within your business that you will see a direct thing from. And what I meant by managing here, just so that we're avoiding confusion, managing means like getting things organized, creating systems, those kind of things. What I meant by here is that that's the nurturing and outreach that you are doing. And what we want to do is we want to see, okay, for Missy's business, it might be different than Anissa's business. What kind of things are going to build that intensity? And we want to amplify the intensity for the things that are working, that are working, and we can see a direct outcome for. Again, everything is working. Do not want to implant that in your brains, but we want to see what is working the best for your business. Now, this was my business formula for 2022. I invested a bunch of money in coaching. I also made sure I got continued certification. I was also in general coaching groups. I've always had a mentor in my business. Like that has always been a key piece of my strategy. I also think that's one of the reasons why I've grown really quickly because I was actually in like you can't compare apples to oranges ever, but when I was even getting certified, I was the only person in my certification group that had a coach or was like even in any business coaching worlds. And I think it's one of the reasons, again, circumstances aside, that I think helped me grow really quickly. The other thing is the amount of self coaching I did, ton of self coaching. Now, as things have happened in my business, that has always gone up and down. But self-coaching has always been a big piece of my indirect formula to grow my business. That is why it's the first module within the program, because it's always helped me. Managing, doing evaluations, responding, calendaring, another huge piece of it. Writing copy or writing presentations has been a big piece of things to learn how the skill of doing that, like we talked about last week. Planning, making sure that my long-term plan, my monthly plan, all that goodness was done. And then, of course, delivering to my clients, making sure that I was delivering my coaching to them, getting peer coached, getting coached, all those different kinds of things. Now, as you can see in 2022, I worked a lot of hours. I would say I did like half of the hours of work and made more this past year in 2023 because I just got better at doing things. The more you do things, the better you get at them. So I don't want these hours to be like intimidating in the least for you guys. And I also repeat the coaching hours, the coaching calls here. The next piece for my business formula in 2022 was actually directly doing things. I only spent about 40 hours of networking in all of 2022. That's going to come into play later. I did very little. I did a lot. I did 5 webinars. I did within 2022. I also had a Facebook group, presentations for groups outside of my group. I also had referrals. So I consider that like time into my coaching calls. The other number I want you to take a good look at is how much time I spent on posting. I think I mentioned this before. When I wrote 900 posts in 2022 and around 900, and I spent a ton of time in that. So that's interesting when you see the results. I also spent a lot of time on my email list, and back in 2021, I had a podcast. Didn't really include it in that year. But one of the things that I want you guys to start doing is I want you to start tracking your consults. Where do these people come from? So here are all the people I did consults with, and it should be blocked out, but you can kind of see their names. So keep it anonymous, people. But within here, I put green if they had converted to become a client, and white if they decided that they were going to wait till a further time, if they were not now. Where? There you go. I also then included the source. So I included first name, last name, consult, source. This is within your nurturing spreadsheet. It is tab 3. So I think we already talked about that slightly earlier. I just wanted to show this to you again. And I have my consults listed not just in my networking and outreach spreadsheet, but I also have it listed in the projection spreadsheet in a different way that you'll see tomorrow. But if you'll notice, this WOM stands for word of mouth. So I got some from self-coaching scholars. I got some from friends, groups that I was in, the networking that I was doing. I also had people from certification, people who were referring me, people who were doing all that. That was what red stood for. I also had in the orange, I had from Instagram, and then from yellow, I had presentations. So when I went to do my business formula for 2022, my best guess for what would make my business get to 6 figures was Instagram. I was like, I feel like this is the way I'm going to do the gram. It's going to be great. But if you notice, I was not getting clients from Instagram, really. And the clients that I was getting didn't convert, didn't convert, didn't convert. Interesting, right? So what we want to do is we want to take all of like the subjective feelings of like, oh my gosh, like I don't know where a client is coming from. I don't know what's going on. And we want to make it really objective. And Sharon, I see you and I'm going to come to you in just a second. But one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that I actually knew where my consults were coming from. And I kind of figured this out at like the very end of the year, the beginning of last year. And for that, what I did is I realized that I had 29 consults from networking. I got 23 clients and I had a 79% conversion rate. Huge. And I only spent 40 hours of my whole year actually networking. I was like, intriguing. I spent 1,800-ish hours on Instagram. I only got 4 clients from that. I only had 7 consults, even though I was posting a bunch every day, and I had a 57% conversion rate. That should tell me that Instagram is important, but not the end all be all. Same thing for webinars. I was like, oh man, well, webinars seem to be doing it for me. Should probably continue to do more of those. So we want to get to know what your conversion rate is. And the way that you do that is you have the total number of consults divided by the number of yeses. And that is what your conversion rate becomes. Sharon.
So just for clarification, so I
Yeah.
know you're saying you didn't get any consults from Instagram, but did you get people to sign up for your webinars from Instagram and then convert them that way?
Amazing question. So I actually did get a client. I got this client, and this client, and this client directly from Instagram. So I did get clients from Instagram. It was just not the majority of my clients. And
Okay.
here's the reasoning why I believe. I think that there are different skills that you have when you're marketing as a business owner. When we talked about the cold leads, warm leads, and hot leads, people are also at those temperatures when they're finding you for the first time. I think what I found is that Instagram solely, if I had never talked with that person before, they were going from a cold lead to a hot lead immediately on a consult. So it was almost like they were jumping a step and jumping a skill I didn't develop yet. So I didn't know how to convert someone straight from cold to hot. That's actually a skill I'm learning right now in my business is how to take someone from like completely cold to hot. It's not and Instagram is still something that's very important. I still spend, and I'll show you my formula, still definitely spend a lot of time there because I know that as my business scales, that's going to be a huge skill for me, but it wasn't like the amount that I got from it. Does that answer your first question?
Yeah, yes, I was just to clarify too, what is then, if it's not Instagram that are feeding people into the audience in your webinars, what's feeding people into the audience of your webinars?
That was where I messaged. So, fun fact, I actually had that list of people who I'd talked to, who had liked, who had commented, who had like been a part of different groups I was in. And I would post in other groups about my presentations. I would cold reach and be like, hey, I know that we've talked about coaching, but would you like to come? And I also offered myself to do presentations for other groups. Funny enough, these were 3 lovely ladies. Their group is, I think, I don't know if they're still doing it, but it's called the Driven Divas. Shanna, Demetria, and Christina. They were the people running the group. I did a presentation for the group, and all 3 of the leaders joined in the mastermind. So it was like me getting in front of new audiences as positioning myself as an expert and also nurturing my current audience was another way that I did the presentations that present but it's interesting, Bridget and those people, and they've all given me testimonials, so I feel comfortable sharing their names. They all were outside of my current audience. So I did a presentation for their group and I did a presentation for a New York City women in um oh my God, it's WICT, Women in Communications and Technology. I was like, I was trying to like do the acronym and I'm like, I needed to say it out loud to be like, what were the letters? But that's what I did the presentation for, and that's where Bridget came from. So I initially had to get outside of my current audience and meet the humans. And then that put me in that position of being an expert. And then I got the people. Any other questions about that? Good question. And they're all good questions, but yeah.
So for clarification, most of your people coming from networking, I mean, coming to your webinars is through networking, like presentations and following up with them, and then probably inviting them through an email or some kind of contact information they gave you, correct?
Correct. So they would be people who were technically following me on Instagram, but I had started up when I say that was networking, great question. That means that we had had conversations and I
Mhm.
had talked with them outside of just solely posting. When I
Mhm.
say just Instagram, these are people that like straight up just came out of the blue and that was like, how'd you find me? I have no idea how you found this consult link. And they were like, your Instagram. So, and Roma and Amy, actually, I'm still working with Amy. I posted Roma's testimonial 2 weeks ago. Ben, he ran like it was like super random, found me through Instagram. He and I'm gonna do something with him soon, but he was the one that had like the $20 million business. It was like, I want you. And I was like, why? Okay. So again, learning how to sell that cold audience that doesn't know you. That's what I mean by cold. Literally, I saw a consult in my inbox and I was like, I have no idea where you found me from. And they said Instagram. So I just showed up, I'm guessing, on like a reel or something for them. Then, like, if they were doing like Discover, they saw me and they were like, oh, she seems reasonable. Cool. Followed me. At the time, I wasn't doing the messaging to every single person that followed me. So I had no contact with them before our consult. So that's what I mean by that. Networking means I talked to them before the consult, came to me through various forms, Instagram, presentations, friends, organizations I was in. And then webinars was the things that I did. I did on top of the webinars I did outside of my, so I did 5 for my people um that I did in 2022, but I also presented to 5 sororities, 6 randomly at NC State. That one woman's group is where Bridget came from, and 2 for different coaching groups. One of them was the one where the 3 people joined. So I did lots of shit in that year. It was wild. But I just wanted to be like, okay, let me just like do all these things and let me see what works for me. And then what I realized is there's like actually a way to track it. And I'll show you guys my financial formula. But it was really helpful for me to see like, oh, if when I do things in my business, I actually do get consults. Like I can actually see the direct correlation. So one thing for you guys is we want to track how you're marketing, your sales, and your revenue, which I've switched now. It's revenue and not profit. I will fix that. I don't know if I fixed it for your web for yours, but I will check. So that's the kind of things that we want to be tracking because they are within your control. Like I've mentioned, many of us have very different circumstances for our lives, for our audiences. Some of my clients will come in and they already have an access to like, I think I told you guys, like a database of like 75,000 people. I did not have that. I was like, I literally was starting from scratch. None of my friends wanted to start businesses. I had to build kind of what I had. And it's still like a lot of people who follow me are still old people from high school and college and things like that. But I was like, I have to, instead of focusing on the people around me who were like growing way faster because they had different circumstances than I could, I just had to focus on what I could control and just stay in my lane. Be like, all right, this is the hand I am dealt. I'm going to make do with it. So I'll show you exactly what this looks like in your spreadsheet. I just want to give you an example in here. So for each week of the year, I tracked how many people I did networking with. Notice I networked with a bunch of people, be like, hey, come to my annual plan webinar, and then did nothing after that. This isn't to get it perfect. It's just to track it for awareness. We want to be aware of the things that we're doing and making sure it works. The other thing with net outreach, this is talking to cold new people. So networking, talking to the people who I'd listed in my nurture part of my spreadsheet. And I was like, hey, come to the webinar. Hey, come to the webinar. Outreach was talking to new people. This was probably a mix on that Tuesday and Thursday that I did 30 minutes. I was either talking with new people that, um, or going to like different Instagrams and being like, hey, let's be friends within there. Yes, yes, yes. So Tavy said outreach cold, network warm, lukewarm, humans. Perfecto. And network also is like anyone who came to old webinars and things like that. When I say the word offers, that's how many posts and reels I did combined. So it wasn't like because I didn't want to count them separately. I was like, these are how many I did combine. I also talked about how many consults I did, how many clients I created, and then my sales that I had from reoccurring payments. This is just if I looked in Square, how much I had, how many returns if somebody asked for a um like I've had people be like, "Oh crap, can you charge it to a different credit card?" So I might need to like send them that back. Um and then income. that word income is actually incorrect. I think I've corrected it on your spreadsheet, but it's just the word revenue. So that's a really great point. That would just be how much money it came into my business. So I have that here for each week. Then I also did the monthly tally and the quarterly tally. So you guys could see that. Tammy asked a great question. She said, "What do you count as a legit offer?" I would just say a post. We can just say any post, even if it's just like a post about, like I did some posts about trips that I went on. I'm going to start doing more of those as well on Sundays to build, because that's for the purpose of marketing my positioning as you create work-life balance when you have systems. Look at me, I can travel, and it's more for my cold audience to get to know my values. With a call to action, yes, and sometimes no. Like sometimes the ones that I did about like the life stuff, I would just be like, here's a year in review. I want to do it on Sunday and be like, look at all the things that happened. I was like, it's not too late, right? To do a 2023 in review video. I'm gonna probably still do one. So just any time that you are posting, I would consider an offer. How is So you said, how is it an actual offer though, unless you don't have a call to action to move them to reach out to you? So there are different pods of offers that we want to be making. We want to be offering people unique content that can be get for that no factor, getting them to know you. And we don't necessarily have to have a clear call to action. So that can like the personal story ones, if you're sharing, like I was shared about my breakup, how I was able to navigate that in 2022. I didn't need to necessarily at the end say like PS like and follow for more. For it to be an offer, I would still consider that's offering some sort of value to my people without necessarily having a call to action. It's like it's just like a valuable thing for them to get to know me. But that's a great, great question, Tammy. I was like, I see you typing. Yeah, nerds are post. Oh, show. Oh, Missy. I was like, she left and came back. Wonderful. So within this, I was thinking about when I made my 2023 goal formula. This was my plan. I was like, I'm going to network this much, I'm going to post this much, and do webinars this much. And the reason why I show you all this is none of this shit happened. None of it. I was like, I really do think that I did. I actually, no, I take that back. I did a webinar a quarter. I do think I did that in 2024. However, the networking and the outreach I had planned to do, and I did not do, like, I'll show you guys mine. I was like, I did the best I could, but it was never something that was meant to be followed to a T. Like, if I don't do this, it will never work. It was more so like just kind of like a goal for me to do. The other thing is, I got kicked off of social media for April and May of 2023. I by messaging all the people, spamming them like, here's a link, sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up. You can only do 50 of those a day. I did 90. The Instagram algorithm was like, you're a robot, you're blocked. So that's what happened in April, a blast and a half. Then in May, they just introduced Instagram Reels to Facebook. Funny enough, it wasn't even a year ago. For you guys that might not have known that, they literally had just introduced it. And when Instagram Reels were introduced to Instagram, there was also an issue where they were saying that if you put music on your reel, it was copywritten and it was taken down and you were reported. Same thing happened with Facebook. My account was reported for copyright infringement and was also taken down. So I lost Instagram in April, Facebook in May, and it also worked out, even if I wasn't able to post consistently. Teresia, I'm still not getting different offers between outreach when it comes to posts. Yes. So,
So,
Teresia,
so really, it's like the difference between the two. Sorry, the sentence was kind of broken.
I was like, wait, I was like, I think I understand what you mean, but say what you mean.
Yeah. So, when it comes to posts, um, I guess you were calling certain posts offers, and I would have never looked at them as such. So I'm trying to figure out then what's the difference between outreach and offers
Mm,
when it comes to posts themselves.
excellent question. So, posts, I would say, are offers. So any post that you do, it'd be an offer. So it'd be like, okay, I did within last week, I did a reel, a post, a reel, a post, a reel, a post, a reel. That'd be 6 offers on my
E
page.
Even if you're not having it, like, I mean, I guess that's the part that's okay.
Yeah. So it was like,
Okay.
so I would say like, so you'll see, I could have 0 for offers, but I talk to people. Sorry, I covered my mic. I don't know why I did that. I was actually checking to see. I just drank some tea and I was like, did I wet my mic? So sorry. I was like, I hope you could hear that.
Yeah.
I did not talk to anybody in their DMs who I knew. I didn't talk to anybody in their DMs that I did not know, but I did post 6 times. So that's what I wrote.
Okay.
And then I did not get any consults that week. Those consults did not convert to clients, obviously, because I didn't have any, but I still made $2,000 of recurring revenue. Again, that word should say
Okay. So the consult is when literally you were speaking to someone with the intent of selling your offer and following a consult method or
Yes.
mechanism. Your networking is anytime you open your mouth and speak to a real human, and your offers are everything else.
It's the posts. Yeah. So
Yeah.
outreach is new people, network old people, offer, post, something that's like
Yeah.
tangible that you can like look back and count.
Okay.
Consults are actual booked calls and showed up to calls. That's
Yeah.
another important thing. I just had a no-show today. Literally, like, and so I would not put them on my calendar. It's only if they came on the call. And you can see here, one converted, but one did not convert.
Yeah.
So that's why I have it's a difference if you booked a consult and clients.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's helpful.
Of course. Any other questions?
Megan, can you go back to the ones I wrote earlier?
Of course.
Thanks.
I'm just gonna snag it over to this side. Okay, perfect. I've got them pulled up. The profit and loss revenue, is that the question?
So I had, there's a couple different ones. So on the tracker, when,
And actually, as you do this, is it okay if we pull it up and
yeah,
make it? I think it'll be more when people see it, I think they're gonna get your question.
yes.
So if everyone goes into this lovely, everyone go ahead on make me smaller. Click on the classroom tab. Go to this tracker where it says, would you like to make a copy of the weekly financial tracker? Make a copy. And we are going to save this to the folder 8 financial. Wait, hold on, let me just double check. Wait, it's like, meh, this is not where I want it to be. We're going to make a new folder called 8 financial tracking and save this bad boy there. So Sharon, now with this pulled up, I think this question will make more sense.
Yes. So the first one is, if let's say you have your consult in different, so my question was, if you have your consult and the revenue in different months, how do you record it in the tracker? So for example, let's say you have your consult in December, the client signs up and pays in January.
Oh, that's a good question. I it's interesting. I don't think I've had that instance. I could say consult 1 in December and then I think no, I have had that happen. I actually have a follow-up on Friday or on Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning. I think that I would put the consult in the week the consult happened and then the client in there. But this is more so like no one else is gonna see this. Like this isn't something
Yeah.
that goes to your accountant or anything, but that's the way my brain would track it because then I want to see that like the person converted a little bit later. But yeah.
Yeah, and then what I was thinking too is like as you're going back and you're looking at your numbers, and what you did that month and comparing those. That's why I was trying to understand that connection because
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
that's a great question. And
Okay.
I'll show you tomorrow, or not tomorrow, today at 3, the projections module is going to get released, and you'll see in there, I actually put the person's name, and I'll go through that with you guys next week, but that's where I can see I'm like, okay, like Anise, she did her consult here, but then she actually became a client here. So I'll show you, like, so you could actually see whatever person it was. You can actually see the person change, and that's just another way you can see what kind of things were working.
Okay. And then I had, let's see, income is recorded regardless if they pay in, like, do you record the
Ah,
whole income or do you record it in the months they actually pay if they're on a payment plan?
I swear, I was like, did I pay you? I was like, you were asking all the right questions for these are all the things we're going to go over next week, but it's a great question because you want to know what's called if someone, let's say this whole mastermind is $5,000, but you all are making $850 recurring payments in
Mhm.
a payment plan. So the question is, do you track 850 or do you track 5,000? What I do is I have 2 places for that. I
Okay.
track the 850 here, and then what the 850 minus 5,000 is a number. I've got my phone. Minus 850. It's 4,150. That would be what's called a receivable. And I have that in the first tab of the spreadsheet you're going to get next week. And then I have like Sharon, you'd be paying me 850 in November, December, October. Nope. November, December, January, February, March, April. I have you in this other spreadsheet to show you. Sorry for the thumbs up. I have you in every single month after that to see how much recurring revenue I'm going to get. So, for instance, I have like $97,000 in receivables for this year, but I want to know when I'm actually going to make those $97,000. Like I'm not going to make them all in January, so it's like split up between now and March or now in May for those.
Okay. So then on this spreadsheet, so we'll utilize that other spreadsheet, but on this spreadsheet, are you recording when they signed up, the revenue, the sales as it was? Like if you signed up for 850, you record 850 in this spreadsheet or no?
Um, yes, and I record whatever was in Square. So I would put like or so Square, Stripe, whatever your revenue um income housing would be, but I would go from Friday the 5th or Saturday the 6th to Friday the 12th, and I would record this number after taxes. So this
Okay.
is the number that I'm putting in this spreadsheet.
And you're also recording after taxes and fees because there's a fee
Yes.
with Stripe or with Square. So then
Yeah.
that's the number you're recording as well. Okay.
Yep. That's what I do, just so I know how much like money is in the bank.
Okay. And then this one has sales returns and revenue. And when you say revenue is, I think, okay, so on your
It
presentation, I
says
feel like you
income.
had profit minus, okay, yeah. Well, you have profit minus loss equals revenue.
Yep,
So
it's
you
just
have
incorrect.
AKA earned expenses for revenue. So that's where I was asking, like in your spreadsheet, you have 1,941 both in sales and in revenue. Does that mean you had no, so I was just trying to understand. So that means no expenses?
Great question. So expenses are recorded in a different I like to record it in a different way. I actually talked with my last group about like recording a whole P&L. Just so for everyone that knows, when I didn't know this, when you have a business, you have the amount of revenue that you bring in, and then you have the amount of expenses you have, and then that equals your profit.
Right.
So I actually had the wrong thing there. So I was like, sorry. I was like, I think that's a profit first method, which I don't even fully understand, so I should not be sharing that in my freaking presentation. But in your business, you're going to have things that are how much money that you made each month. And I'll share this with you guys. We're gonna probably do a whole separate training on this, but this is how much profit I made each month. But then I also had all my expenses. So I paid Hiscox, I paid lawyers, I had professional photographer, I paid for Acuity, for Flow Desk, for coaching, certification. All of those things are expenses for my business. And those are things that I had to track as well. So my net, I think that's the right word, income. Yeah. So it's like how much money I made, which would be revenues, and then minus the expenses equals the income or profit. I'm going to get better use of those words before I do this training. I pinky promise, because clearly I'm getting them all mixed up. But that is the gist of it. You want to say how much money that you made. This is purely for just how much money you have made, not including expenses. So that's a really good question, because clearly I'm working on learning that as well. You also asked about QuickBooks, and QuickBooks is a way, the reason why I haven't gotten great about doing expenses is because it's kind of just done for me with QuickBooks. It's a tool that you can use as well. You do not have to use QuickBooks by any means, but my accountant actually recommended that I use QuickBooks. So I'm just going to post my QuickBooks tutorial if you would like to use QuickBooks as well.
And so the main part of the reason I was trying to understand too, because you had sales of 1,941.10, and then you had revenue of the same. So I was just trying to understand why that was the same number.
It was just because I didn't have any people asking for a refund.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
That's
And
what I
then,
mean by returns.
okay, that's what that's meant. And
Yeah.
then on the spreadsheet where it says outreach is people that you've never met, or
Yes.
that you've met. Okay, so it's people that you've never met. Okay, thank you.
Of course. And I think you had one more question, and then I'll get to Tammy, who probably knows a ton about this, which would be so awesome if you can give us a quick financial education. That would be incredible. Maybe I'll have you come and do the P&L with us. Um,
I think we covered everything.
oh, we did. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Tammy, take it away.
Okay, so if you're okay with it, I took the sheet, the weekly financial tracker, I added a formula in there that would automatically pull from the income area and pop it onto the far right field. I'll reshare that with you. So
Hell
that way you're
yes.
not manually having to repeat type stuff in. And I can go through the others and get them to auto calculate as well. Give me time on that though. The
You're
other thing
crushing
is
it.
like P&L. I don't use QuickBooks for summarizing everything. The reason why is because it's almost like, okay, if you track and you have some automations, or you have, I don't know, 20 minutes a week just to sit down and manually enter stuff in. I use a form that I bought from a CPA who specializes in like small biz and entrepreneurial things. So not only does it track your income, but it also tracks the things that you can legit write off, and it allows you to categorize what they are. So
Yeah.
um, so like my approach is different. So like profit and loss, think about it this way. Your revenue is everything you bring in. Your net is the difference of what you have left over after your taxes. And then if you want to go a step further, your expenditures. From an entrepreneur's perspective, it's like, okay, what do I have left over? That is money that I can use for whatever, whether it's to reinvest or whether it's an owner's draw and it's going to be personal income for my household or whatever. Does that make sense? Is that making sense so far? Is everyone following that?
I think so. I think so. And I was wondering, because I think this might be a very in-depth conversation,
Mhm.
would you be willing to potentially like walk us through this for like a whole period of time? Because one thing I would love to, like, if that's okay with you, like this is totally like up to you, but I've had other people like Allison coming in and doing the podcast and things like this. I would love to like not spend all this time asking my questions, because I'm like, yes and no. I was like, I'm following half of this, and I do not want to spend y'all's coaching time asking my questions, but I do want to make sure that we do cover expenses, because the reason why I am covering at least this is I had paid so much money for all these coaching programs and nobody taught me this. Like, this was, I literally had to figure this out on my own. And so this is literally like from a first grade teacher who had to figure this out on her own, not at all from a tax perspective or anything like that. And I would love to have a formal training for like everybody on this
Mhm.
P&L. And I think what you were saying previously about QuickBooks does it automatically, but I don't actually know, like, I'm not tracking every week to see what my expenses are. And I think it's more valuable, especially at the beginning, to have something like where you're like actually putting in, okay, I spent this much money on this, I spent this much money on this. And I
Mhm.
would love to like go over that maybe with you and then present it to the crew.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I'll
Would
send
that be
you,
okay with
we
you?
can, we can schedule that aside, because
Yes.
it's really powerful what happens when you have an awareness of knowing, ooh, you know what? I like at the beginning of the month, I have X amount that goes to receiving coaching. I have X amount that goes to my
Mhm.
monthly subscriptions of Zoom and Calendly or Acuity or whatever it is. Like knowing what you have incoming then also allows you to position and ideally time when you're receiving compensation from clients and know that, oh, you know what? The bulk of my bills are due at the beginning of the month. Who can I call and either negotiate moving due dates and or I know that if my bills are due at the beginning of the month, then I need to front load a lot of conversations for network outreach and pre-schedule some posts so that my time is freed up to be able to do the discovery calls and then even troubleshooting, okay, where am I weak? Where can I improve in improving my copy and stuff so that everything I put out there is giving me more of a return, that I'm booking more discovery calls at the beginning of the month so that when they cycle through for if they're on a payment plan and or paid in full, you already got the money in your account come the time to reinvest or re-up or like there's so much strategy and like this is such a vibe. So I'm in love with the sheet because it's so pretty.
Well, and it's also like so we'll talk about next week, but like I have clients that like move their payments, that they need to move things around every week. They need to within my when I pay my credit card and things like that. Next week I'll show you like every single person who is paying me right now. I know whether they paid in full. I know when they are starting when they're finishing their sessions. I know when they are here, and I'll just give you like a little preview into that. But one of the things that I found really, really helpful is that like I could see whether they were paying at the beginning, end, or middle of the month. And then I would go in and change that per client. So this is something that we'll talk about, a monthly checklist. This is something that I do monthly. And I would say, okay, here are the different payment plans, there's different options. But that was because I was like, I was looking at my you'll notice and you're going to start to see trends and you'll be like, why do I have no money at the end of the month? It's like, why am I not bringing in any money? And for a traditional career, it's scary. You're like, oh my God, like I don't have any money coming in. So you need to be like, know when those payments are coming in. And that's what I was talking about with the predictability of your business. Like actually knowing when these payments are coming in is so helpful. So you're not like, oh my God, I have no money. Yes, but thank you. I was like, I just want to get like, I want to get the terms right. And I also have a ton of people from my other groups, Tammy, that and one-on-one that have been asking about a P&L like workshop. And I would love to just knock it out for everybody if you are open to that. That would be amazing. Like, I just love you guys so much. Yes, Tammy, go
I'm
for
going
it.
to be transparent. The only reason I know this is because like I do admin, like I'm a virtual assistant under behind a lot of coaches. And one of the people that I virtual assistant for, she does taxes for a living. And she teaches people strategy for maximizing every single penny they can while having the proper documentation and not abusing the system, but using all the loopholes that are written in the tax code. Right.
Yes.
So it's like she's given me a lot. And because I still do admin support stuff for her, it's like I'm happy to connect people with her when
Yeah.
it comes time to filing and stuff. She saved me so much money. And she
Please
can guide
do.
like S Corp, C Corp,
Mhm.
LLC, sole proprietor, which one's the best, nonprofit, what are the, like, and she can guide in all that. So it's like The only reason I know what I know is because of gleaning from her and learning from her.
And I
In
had
terms
my accountant come in, and she is she's very good at taxes. Somehow each year I come out with more. Her level of education is not the best. She frightens me. So like, and then, like every time I go like ask her a question, I'm like, I hope I did this right. But so
Yeah.
I love her dearly. She's really good at what she does. I'll include that video as well today. But just like it was also a little over my head. So if she has some financial education, that's just a huge piece of it. I was one of like, and I don't fault anyone for this, but one of my mentors just talked about how they just learned how to use QuickBooks this year, and they've been in business for 9 years. And I was like, oh, this is important. Nobody knows how to do finance. Like, it's like, I feel like nobody is talking about it in a lot of different spaces. And this was just a way for me to like at least revenue the money I was bringing in, a way to track the Squarespace stuff and be like, okay, this is how much money I made this week, to just go in like that and be like, okay, this is helpful. And I do it Friday to Saturday or Saturday to Friday. So you can see like that. So it would be like this each week you would go in, and that's how I do my finances. So I obviously can't do it for this week, but then you can see like this year, years in the past, things like that as well. Are there
Yeah,
any
that it's like all about having awareness, but then also like if you're going to team up with someone who's going to do tax stuff for you, they get to be the person who can break things down for you and also be a safe space for you to ask questions and not feel like you're judged or not feel like you're stupid, because the truth is you don't know what you don't know, and there are so many tax people out there who will be very quick to talk over your head, which is why they can keep charging you what they charge you and
Mhm.
not empower you to have
Right.
some understanding of things. And it's like that's what I love about my girl is she empowers you, and she's like, yes, here are some questions and things to consider, here's what to watch out for. And like when you have someone who can break it down in a way where you're not feeling judged, it makes for amazing conversation to talk tax strategy and finances and stuff like that.
Yes, because I will say Diane is very inexpensive and wonderful. However, it was always been just like whenever I ask a question, I feel like I want to cry. And that's just me. We like have that kind of like a relationship, but where I'm like, okay, this is working for me. However, I would highly recommend it, like I'm kind of like, and I actually met with another accountant this year, and she was like, no, she did a good job. Like it's like nothing is wrong here. Um, because I was like, is this right? I was like, I hope that I'm doing this right. And the way that she like I have had her like she does know what she's doing. It is just definitely over your head. And it's like if there's somebody that can teach you the ins and outs, I think that'd be helpful. And we are lucky enough to have Tammy as a part of this group that can give us some ins and outs, which is awesome. And we'll figure out a time whatever works for you, for us, and for the other group. That would be freaking phenomenal. Yes. So yes, please put the booking link in the stream. Today, I want to hear from everybody and anyone that needs coaching. But I know Missy, particularly, I know you haven't been here for the past couple weeks, so I wanted to touch on you, and then anybody else who like maybe wants a little bit of coaching. I was like, then feel free to raise your hand and all these wonderful things.
Thanks.
Because I
Appreciate
was
that. I
like,
would
I
love,
know you posted in the group, but I was like, I want to make sure I got you.
I love it. I would love coaching.
Oh, start with the win
Okay.
first. What's been
Win.
up to?
I booked a consult, so that's a win. Yeah, I'll take that.
Amazing. When is
And
it?
the 31st. So hopefully we
Phenomenal.
book more in between here and then, but I will take it.
I
So,
love
and
it.
that's, thank you. And that's actually what I want to talk about. So all the money stuff is exciting and I want to make some money. So, my biggest goal right now is to create consults, which and I don't know if I'm in a different position than everyone else or not, but I work a full-time job and I'm feeling slightly overwhelmed at trying to prioritize and figure out. I heard the phrase the other day of like chasing the antelope rather than the mice. And I feel like I'm chasing tons of mice and I need to just find my one fucking antelope and go get it.
Can you
So
explain
I would
that
like
to
help.
me? I was like, I was like, I was like, I like this, and I was like, give me a little bit more context.
Yeah.
What is an antelope?
So I think what it means in my mind, at least, is like um more massive, like potent action, like one potent action, maybe rather than being scattered in so many places. Like, as I've got
Gotcha.
limited time to focus on my business at the moment. And then I would like to make sure that the time I'm spending is the most productive. So, like, go after the big things rather than a million little things that aren't adding up. So, like you were saying earlier, like figure out what's actually working and expand on that rather than continuing to try 18 different things. Does that make sense?
For freaking
Thanks,
sure.
Jess.
And I think that like for you, I also want to think about how much time do you have a week? Do you think to work on your business?
Um, I should actually just put down numbers. I'm probably doing 15 hours, but
Okay,
it's not, that's, I'm making that up. I mean, that's like an hour in the morning. That's a guess. I don't, that's a good thing to know. I'm guessing 15 hours.
okay, I think that would be helpful. First, because when we're talking about getting more consults, that's for the goal of getting more clients, right? So something I would love to see, even if you have a typical like full-time job, creating a routine around your calendar to be with the biggest revenue generating activities is something I would love to do. Now, for those 15 hours a week, one of the things that I would love to think about for you is how many clients do you want or do you have the capacity to have?
I could easily do, well, would want 10 would be awesome. And I'm willing to mess with my schedule to make that doable.
Got it.
So want 10, like right now I have one paid, two free,
Got it.
but I would,
Okay.
yeah,
So we got one paid, two free, 9 more paying humans eventually.
yeah.
When we're thinking about those 15 hours a week, what I would love for you to do is block out, like, especially I do appointment availability. And so I have like the times that
And
I'm
I do
available.
that. I have,
Okay.
like, I have that all set. I've got my Calendly. I'm like, I feel pretty good on my time blocking as far as like, I know when I'm dedicating to my business. I'm just like, when I sit down, I feel like I start planning again rather than executing. I just keep like switching up my plan. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Sorry to cut you off.
100%. So I was like, so we would need to figure out what to do with the 15-hour, or I guess it would be 12 hours that you're not coaching
Yeah,
currently, and then figure out what to do for like how to essentially get really good at whatever we're doing in those 12 hours now, so you can condense it to 5 hours like after that. So you know what I mean?
that
So
makes,
it's like,
yeah,
because so it's like if I'm thinking about you and scaling this business whilst having this full-time job, what we want to do is we want to think about the things that I have found for myself and other people that bring you the most return. So there are 3 things that I would recommend you doing every week: marketing, generating and talking to leads, and a little bit of planning, doing a smidge of this planning. I think right now, if I were you in your shoes, I would love for you to hear these additional concepts, be like, I could see how I doing this every week would be really beneficial. And we might need to do a little bit of an like change it up a smidge to make it work in your time frame. So, what I'm thinking for you is a lot of the things that you're hearing right now, I want you to take in and maybe make it something that you do instead of once a week, doing it once a month. So it's like, okay, instead of tracking every single week, because I would say this takes about 30 minutes for me to do, like, get my numbers, go through, evaluate, and things like that. You're already evaluating in our weekly form. So that's great. As long as you have in your calendar, so I would say that like the 3 things for everybody, I would say are plan, um, manage, and generate leads and market. So if we are taking planning off the docket, except for like once a month-ish, these are the two things I would be doing within the 12 hours that you're not coaching. And now you can get like a system ready so that when you have more clients, you can just cut down that time. With managing and generating leads, I would love for you to take 30 minutes a day if you have the availability for it. Let me know if this actually works for you, because I had to
Okay.
switch it around when I was teaching and talk to 10 people a day. Do you think that that is feasible for your work calendar?
Yeah, and actually that was when we did that class, that was probably still my favorite class, probably because it was so, it's what I need. That's what I need to be doing, is like talking to the people right now. And I did start a number of conversations, and then I kind of got stuck on the piece of who to reach out to, and kind of, I think I bailed on my own plan, to be honest. I was on a roll, and then I like ran out of people that were obvious and comfortable, and then I stopped reaching out. It's like, I don't know what to say to any of these people. I kept stalking groups and then not saying anything.
Which is totally fine. And I think that like we were talking about like before you left about who your ideal client is. So I would love to think about places for you to go for those 5 hours. And then I also, this is what I call like reverse engineering your goal. Like if this is our, like it's like reverse modeling it essentially. So we've got like the circumstance slash result that you want is to figure out what to do at this time. These are the actions we would want to take. And then we'll talk about the feeling and thought needed to execute on your plan. So, and everybody can do this. This is like a way to like back it up. But when we're thinking about with your audience, I think that is the question. It's like, okay, what am I doing? Where am I finding these leads? So you said you looked into some Facebook groups. Which Facebook groups kind of like struck your fancy?
Well, actually, that's a good question. And I've caught myself, what I prefer that I'm
Okay,
learning is I really prefer in-person stuff.
awesome.
So I think I need to put more focus there. Like I started a networking group. I did that last night. Tonight I'm going to go to a new run club. I think that stuff is where I'd prefer to put my energy. Um, but maybe that's not enough, but I'd like to build that into my plan for sure.
Well, so here's how we know. We're going to decide right now that this is the right plan for you. We're going to be like, okay,
That sounds nice.
based on everything that I feel like this is something I would really like to do. I feel like I'm going to be in good energy there. I feel like I am going to be surrounded by people who could potentially use this. And then I'm going to evaluate at the end of this week. I'm going to think about, and that's where this is very helpful, where we can be like, okay, I talked to all these people, but I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily bringing in clients. Is this maybe the best use of my time? We'll
Yeah.
evaluate. And I would say like 30 days for sure check in, 90 days for sure check in and see if you're bringing in consults. Now, I want you to think about like instead of like making it a little bit more arbitrary, I would love to see how we could make it something that's objective with the like networking events. So maybe it's like go to 4 networking events a week, or no, not a week. Oh my God, that'd be a lot. I was like for a month. Like, what do you think would be a reasonable amount of events to go to get your name out there?
Actual networking events, I am 3. Run
Let's
club I'm willing to do weekly.
Okay, awesome. So we'll do 3 extra, um, 3 a month and run club weekly, which I used to do one run club too. It was super fun. So when you're doing that, I know that when I did run club, it was very tempting to talk to my people to get like old, like I would go with a friend, we would talk. We never actually talked to anybody
Yeah.
outside of it. So what you could do is you can be like, okay, as the CEO of my business, I want to challenge myself each time I go to the run club or the networking event. Do you think you could talk to like a couple new people each time? And how many would you want to talk to?
Oh, I love this challenge.
Right?
That's Yeah, that's 100% what I need. And I'm gonna throw out the extra accountability so you guys can all hold me accountable. I'm not going to, when people ask what I do, I'm not gonna mention my day job. I'm only gonna mention this. Um, let's we'll say at Run Club, it's not a huge group, so let's say 2.
Okay.
It's just not, yeah, 2 a week, 2 new a week.
What about networking?
I gotta find groups and see how big they are, but let's go with 4. I don't know. I'm making it
Yeah,
up, but we'll see what
let's give it a try.
happens.
A week. And we're going to test it and we're going to see, okay, am I bringing in consults? Is this a part of the plan? Now, with marketing, there are so many things that you could do. One of the things that I recommend is doing 6 like post reel combos, 3 to cold, 3 to warm, 3 to hot, or not 3. 1 to cold leads, a post and a reel. 1 to hot warm leads, post reel. 1 to cold leads, hot leads, post reel. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel like that has been successful to reach my audience along with getting positioning for my brand. So it's like we're creating like the brand of your offer. And by talking about one topic a week, I think it's helped the algorithm for me. That is what I suggest. But do you want to adapt it? Do you want to adopt it? Do you want to, what would be good and reasonable for you?
So I've been playing with this a lot in my head and some in reality. What I like is I really like the combo of um showing my brand, like the know and like factor
Mhm.
in my posts, not just my stories, and then rotating in my offer. So um I think to do that, to get consistency feels good. So my thought is, and I'm willing to be challenged on this, every 4th post do an offer, and then the other 3 are like personal. So if someone, it's like, it's frankly the Jenna Kutcher method, if anyone's ever heard of that.
Okay.
Um,
So what I'm hearing is like you would still be talking about like you would still be talking about like coaching mixed in, and then you would be like, by the way, join the Momentum Initiative every
yeah,
4th post,
correct.
which I think is a
Except I'm
very
also flip-flopping on the name and all of that, but that's for another day.
okay. I was like, we can talk through that too. Like, I was like, anything that you need, truly, like, let me know because I want you to feel confident about it. But I think that at least for now,
Yeah.
it's very similar. So as long as you're doing like speaking to your cold audience so they get to know you, warm, and then for your hot, I would love along with you said every 4th post do an offer. If you could do that 5th or 6th post as a testimonial as well.
I'm
If
good
it
with that.
somebody that you're working with right now. It could be someone that you just got results for in the grocery store. But as long as you're talking about, hey, I get results, that would be just like the other added piece of this.
I
Now,
like that.
we are looking to create 10 consistent clients in 12-ish hours at this time, which means that we are going to need to get you. I was like, do we want to aim for 9 new clients or 7? If you want to, what I'm asking for is, do you want to count the free people or not?
For now, sure. We'll do 7.
Okay. So we are looking for 7 clients. And what, let's just take do a temperature check. Do you feel like doing this, managing leads like this, marketing like this, is we can just choose that this is how 7 clients are going to come? Or do you want to do anything else?
I I would like to choose that if I do all of that and do it in full belief and not in hiding, not like quietly doing all of that, but loudly do all of that, explaining my offer, that would be enough.
Let's freaking go. And the other thing that I would just offer about the managing and generating leads piece is just introducing yourself to your new people,
Yeah.
to people. And so I would love for that to also be a piece of things. How do you feel when we're looking at that? I want to think about like, okay, if we like 7 people are coming from this, how does that feel? What emotion do you want to generate as you think about doing these things?
Excited comes up, but I don't like that. Determined. Um,
Good, determined.
Determined, I think.
Love. What is a thought that can get you there, even when you're like, oh my God, I just worked all day and I really don't want to talk to new people. Oh my God, I don't really know what I'm gonna post today. What do you thought can you think that can help you get back in this energy, especially working a full-time job? It like your brain is like, I want to do something new. We're gonna get you in a routine after vacation, and then we can talk about like adding stuff later if we want to. However, what thought can always help you get back there?
It's some flavor of my people are waiting for me. I can help. Something like that. Yeah,
Oh,
my people. Yeah.
I can help. Freaking awesome. And goal to sign 7 more. Let's go. I love this. Are there any questions? Are you feeling good?
No, this does feel good because I can get wrapped around the axle on the Facebook and Instagram stuff. And frankly, everything that works is in person. So I need to just embrace it. And I want to do that, like you said, to build long-term like longevity and get in the routines, but I don't want to use that as an excuse to not go meet people.
Yeah.
So that feels more in line with like what I think will work and what I want to do, frankly.
Hell
I
yeah.
like it.
I love it. Okay, amazing. And let me know if we need to adapt it again. If we want to
Okay,
do like, let me know how.
cool.
So this is kind of
Thank
like
you.
implied, but like if you need any more help with this, and or if you need some help on your offer, things like that, you let me know too. Okay.
Deal. Thanks, Megan. Appreciate it.
So good. Amazing.
I think your mic's cutting out a little bit.
Is mine?
I don't know. I couldn't hear any of that.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Did
No,
anyone else hear her cut out? That was weird. Okay.
that was weird.
Like maybe it's me.
I was like, oh God. I was like, I just changed the batteries. I was like, don't let me down. I was like, so Tammy, I know you had your hand raised first, but I see Jess. Jess, I was like, do you want to go? I was like, I think I'll get to both of you and Sharon too. So Tammy, are you
I'm
cool
good
if I let
either
the
way.
rest go?
If I'm good either way.
Awesome. Jess, start with a win. Let's
Okay.
do it.
I started my new part-time job last week that
Amazing.
I'm really enjoying actually, and I crushed it.
Yes.
Like to the point where I'm looking at the results I got and going, why the hell can't I do that for myself? So some things to uncover there.
Love.
But which I mean we could coach on that a little bit, or I am struggling right now because I'm looking at my calendar. I have a lot and I generally have a lot and just operate that way, and that's fine. I'm very focused on not burning out, and giving myself the rest and space that I need. But I want to be getting consults and I want to be bringing in new people, and I'm not doing that right now. So my brain goes to, I would like to do a group instead of focusing on one-to-one. I love the dynamic. And so much about this group as is really honestly spurring me towards that.
Mhm.
And also the clients that I have worked with, I've worked with in pairs. So I like the dynamic of the conversation. I think it's really valuable. I feel like I have a lot of resistance because I don't feel like I've coached enough people yet to launch a group. But that's really where I want to go. And so I'm at a point now where I haven't generated anything for January. My energy's been really split with this new endeavor. But I would like to have everything in place to launch a group at the beginning of Q2.
Okay.
And my brain's giving me all the reasons why that's not a good idea, why I should just focus on one-on-one until I feel like I am an established enough coach to do that.
Okay. Okay. So I've got all these thoughts for you. The
Okay.
first thing is, how much time do you have? I'm more clarifying questions before I'm gonna give you my thoughts. How much time, just like with Missy, and everybody can ask themselves this question, how much time do you have to dedicate to your business at this time?
And that's, I think, what I have a better understanding of this week versus what I had going on last week because it was a little
Yeah.
chaotic. I am going to say comfortably, I have 15 hours. I'm currently coaching one pair that's paid and then a single that is not paid. And then I have 2 full days a week that are dedicated to this other position. So I'm going to say 15 hours.
Okay. With that, how many hours do you want to spend coaching?
I think that's the other reason why the group is attractive. I would like to be coaching somewhere between 5 and 10 hours.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to give you like just kind of like my philosophy around groups and things like that. If you already want to be coaching for 5 to 10 hours, I'm guessing that you probably don't want to be coaching a 5 hour group. That would be a very long group. That would
No.
like if we're thinking about that. Within, and I think I was talking to Tammy about this as well last week. If we just want to make your business, what is your goal for this year? How much money would you like to make this year?
That's something I haven't gotten really clear on. I set a goal to be bringing in $5,000 a month revenue from my business by mid-year, and then that going to 10. So what's that, 60, 30? Let's call it 100.
Okay. 10K a month, mid-year. Okay. And so I think that your brain was like, okay. And it's interesting because I think the reason why you haven't necessarily brought in like consults and things is we just need some clarity. We need to be like,
Mhm.
okay, so once we know what we want, then the people will come as well. So within this, if we're thinking about the time, how much is your one-on-one offer right now?
3,000.
Okay. So, and how long is it?
6 months.
6 months. So that'd be for how much would you do payment plans?
Yeah, it breaks down to roughly
500.
$500 a month. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be 10 clients a month for one-on-one. So if you want to hit this 5K, maybe raise your price, get to 10K, it'd be
Mhm.
10 clients every 6 months to get to the 5K. So a way that you could get to the 10K is to take on 20 clients.
Mhm.
You could raise your price, or you could start a group. The
Okay.
thing is, within a group and things like that, and or having a different offer, we want to strategically think about your time being able to make the most amount of money you could possibly, like, we want to make sure that like the time for money is actually like working out. So I think what's happening is, if we were to think about a group, how much money would you charge for the group?
So I haven't really thought through that, but off the top of my head, um, I was thinking about 1,500 a piece and maxing it at 10.
Okay. So let's just see if the maths the way we're
Yeah.
thinking. I was like, mathing. It would, I'm guessing, also be for 6 months. That'd be 250 a month. So
Mhm.
that means that in order to make up that 10,000 or that 5,000 extra a month, oh, Jesus, 5,000. Oh my goodness. We just need to do 5,000 divided by 250 would be 20 people in your group in order to make your 10K,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So we need 20 people in the group. Now, when we're thinking about filling a group or things like that, I actually wanted to start a group in 2022. So I was like really freaking ready, or 2021. I was like, I was a teacher. I love it. I love the dynamic. I want to do it. And I never want to coach you out of something. Like I told Tammy, I was like, I never want to coach you out of something that like is something that feels like you really want. I just want to give you some other just base knowledge from
Yeah.
my past experience. So I decided to just balls to the wall, start a group. I was like, yep, I know that necessarily, like, I haven't necessarily made the revenue that would maybe constitute this. I know I might not have the demand. And I was like, I'm going to make it work. I was like, let's go. And one of the things that I found is I did. And it was a little bit trickier than I thought. Now, no regrets, like at all. However, one of the things that we would want to be thinking about is the kind of, you're asking yourself, I think, reasonable questions. If we're thinking about launching a group, it's a whole separate skill set, which
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I was like, it's not just marketing to one, it's marketing to the masses. You're learning how to sell on a webinar versus a consult. And like, so I'm going to say like just group skills. So I would say selling on consult or webinars versus consults, having one of the things that I would recommend, or maybe it's not a group skill, but it's something that like I would recommend is like having like, if you're not marketing your one-on-one for the group, you're going to need to have set like time aside to market. And I would recommend around a month.
Okay.
So 1 month per launch, right? So
Okay.
let's say that if you go through like I did, and I did this at like the very beginning of my business, and I launched this like March Mindset Madness. It took away from all the marketing I had for my one-on-one, and I missed out on a full month of profit because I decided to do this. So that is like, I used to like, the opportunity gain is I think what our brain goes to about like how awesome it would be. And then the opportunity cost is what I just want to like open up
Yeah.
like a perspective. So this would mean like, if let's say the launch didn't necessarily go as we planned, this could be a 0K month,
Right.
which is totally doable. I've had 0K months before. It happens. I just want to make sure that like financially, if you want your business to be like cranking out some money a month, if you want to like, it's easier to take on a 0K month if you have a cushion.
Hmm.
So these are some things to think about. The other thing is you mentioned like, I'm not sure if my audience would be ready for it. When you start a new offer, that is like, it's almost like a new audience. Like,
Mm.
a lot of the times, like I have some people who are overlap for one-on-one and group, but usually there's a pretty big distinction for who it is.
Okay.
So it's like a completely new audience. You can think about like almost like I've heard it described as a new business.
Okay.
Like it's like it's almost like a second business. So at the very least, what I would recommend is selling one-on-one, getting really great at selling one-on-one. You're going to learn how to sell consults extremely well. You're going to learn how to market like a badass. Like you're going to be like, okay, I'm just cranking out the money with the marketing. You could also, if we're talking about client delivery, the two benefits to that is like any content you'd be teaching in the group, you could save
Mhm.
content for the group in a classroom or another type of field. You also are going to be getting testimonials and recs recommendations to
Yeah.
set you apart as like an expert in the industry. And you're going to make more money doing it. It's less risk. Like I would say based on statistics, it's less risky. These are my thoughts about it.
Okay.
I heard all of this. I still waited a year and I was like, I'm still doing it. And I will support the hell out of you either way. I just want to give you these things that might not have been on your radar.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That
What is coming up?
So I had another another thought and like direction that I was considering pursuing, and there's no timeline on it. It's something that I want to do down the line, but so I focused on health and wellness practices and creating a wellness routine that actually fits into your life, right? Huge challenge for a lot of us, especially I think women who are trying to manage the kids and trying to manage the job and then doing some kind of entrepreneurial thing, whatever. Your wellness typically goes to the side and that's it. So when I think about a group like this or the places that I've worked in the past, I would like to craft an offer to go in to corporations
Yes.
and coach their teams on these practices and talk about it in a way on like how it ties directly into workplace productivity, workplace satisfaction, all of these things, because people are, I mean, like we had whatever the great resignation, but like now we're having like layoffs and things like that. And it's because of a lack of productivity overall, right? I think generally speaking, the majority of people are not satisfied within their jobs. So they're looking for other things. It doesn't have to be like that. So I toggle back and forth between this. And I think probably for the same reasons you wanted to go straight to a group, I am really good in front of a group.
A crowd,
Like
right?
I do like the conversation that happens in a one-on-one setting and the depth that you can go to. But my thought process is this: if I go into corporations and I'm giving some type of a presentation on these are tangible wellness practices that you can take into your life that will boost productivity, give you more energy, create better routines for you so that when you are at work, you can be focused, you can show up and you can crush it. You can also still have the balance within your life. So presentation, the company would pay me for, right?
Question for you.
Yes.
How do you feel about, and I don't mean to cut you off, I'm
No.
totally following you. I think it's extremely profitable. I could totally see this working. How would you feel about selling 10 people like now into your one-on-one, getting that 5K of revenue going
Mhm.
really easily, using the other 5 hours to just like whip out your marketing, get those
Okay.
leads coming in, build up a wait list for those 10 people. And when you have like, so that way you just know that you always have 5K coming in,
Yeah.
that there is never a question. You get really good at positioning yourself. If you want to eventually work for a company and things like that, I think that's awesome. How would you feel about pitching that after you sell them out? After you sell it one-on-one? Or other alternative is spending 4 days a week selling out one-on-one. And then one of your outreach days, you send a cold pitch to some organizations about doing that.
Okay.
You get the best, like you get someone that like what I was telling Tammy as I was like, if she wanted to do her like spending 4 days with a resilient life and then 1 day on her digital or her debt collection, debt management consultation.
Yeah.
Consultation is the word. Debt consultation. So it's like, so I was like, then you still get that experience. You're like still getting that like that hit, or you could even do 2 days. I just want, you have limited hours. I
Right.
want to develop your skill of marketing for you. I want to get your skill of generating leads for you, just in case. Still think that you could sell this for sure to companies and then spending that other time doing cold outreach to companies. I have a client that did that as well.
Okay.
Doesn't market it at all, but he does Level Up Leadership Academy, and he works with 4 different companies along with doing one-on-one too.
Okay.
That's
I
like,
love Marie Forleo. She's my spirit animal.
oh my God, I love it. So yes, I have never actually gotten into portfolio, but I feel like I would.
Oh,
I feel
like
like
the whole phrase multi-passionate I was like, oh my God, you see me.
it's like I've been seen. I love it. So it's just like, how about 1 day, like sell out one-on-one
Yeah,
and then do 1 day a week for group
I like that. I like that a lot.
to corporations. Not talking about it, not talking about it in your marketing, but just
No,
doing
just like outreach.
the debt thing. Yes.
Yeah, outreach. Okay. Um,
Amazing.
Yeah, I definitely will, Tammy. She's amazing. She actually she just launched something new called Time Genius, and I'm like all the things that I'm like, yeah, I need this, but I also I am committed to not signing up for another freaking thing until I have mastered one.
Let's just like, yeah, let's master one. We got this.
Like, this is my problem.
I was like, but I'm
okay.
excited for you.
That feels really good because I just see such a huge opportunity. Like I just read a post about the woman who was just promoted to CEO of Best Buy. And I'm like, we are in a time where women are taking the reins of more and more organizations, and they see the value in these practices so much more than men. And I'm like, how can I tap in? Because in my very big visionary brain, I am completely changing the way women work.
And that's why I want you to sell at these one-on-ones, protect your profit.
Yeah.
Because then it's almost like a dopamine hit. Like, okay, if I can sell at these
Yes.
one-on-ones, then I get to do the fun visionary stuff. So it's like the
Okay.
best of both worlds.
Okay. I like that.
Amazing. Also, remember that time when I told you guys I really need to go to the bathroom? This is that time, but I think Anise had a thought for you. She raised her hand like mid you talk. Nope. Okay, cool. Then I was like, just chat amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I love you. You guys are amazing. I'll be right back.
No, just what happened was I was trying to get the hand up, and I was like, if I just wave a lot, maybe it will come up, and then I realized I had to press the button. You know how sometimes it just happens and you're doing it and like her balloons. So that's what I was
Yes.
trying
Oh
to
my gosh, it happens. I get the thumbs up and the thumbs down all
Yeah.
the time. I was
But now,
on
of course, I'm doing it, and then totally the wrong impression. So no, sorry. Much as I was loving what you were talking about, and also Sharon and I are both Murray Folio. So yeah,
I joined B
Classics.
School back in 2016 when I launched my first business, and like I still have access to it.
Yes.
Because you get lifetime access, but her energy reminds me of mine. And it's just so nice to like know that there is a place for all of us to fit in, because I'm like, I don't want to just do one thing. Like I just joined as the director of sales for a startup that is focused on fintech and like something totally different. And I'm like, that's who I am. I like doing a bunch of different stuff. But B School is it's basically like how to start a business for those of us that didn't want to go to, I mean, I have an MBA too, so I went to college for it too, but like for people that didn't necessarily want to go to business school, it's a really robust program.
And it's only about $2,000, which is
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was when I bought into it, and I don't think she's changed it too much. And you have lifetime access, and she updates it every couple of years.
and she does it
Yes.
biannually. So she does one in January or February, and then she does another one in the summer. So you
Yeah.
can go twice a year. Anyway,
Yeah, and I know, I think that'll be on my agenda at some point soon to go back through it, just because my business ideas have changed so much since then. But yeah.
It starts again February 23rd, so you can start going back around in the next round. And I took her coffee cure too.
I love
see,
it.
Sharon,
Yeah.
man.
I
Awesome.
love it. And like what I do is I'll put like all the things I want to invest in. I put it in my annual plan. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do like I'm doing a different mastermind. I've got aspirations of these kind of things. I'm like strategically, and it's almost like a reward to myself. I'm like, okay, so if I actually get all this shit done, then I can do this.
Same with me, except mine didn't get done last year. I had a monthly things, like I was going to do Tony Robbins, I was going to do this, and then never mind, this year.
It's like this is the year, and it's gonna happen, and I love it.
Sorry.
Tammy, let's get going. I was like, and feel free, like, if you have other, like, I love learning from multiple people. I think that, like, all business leaders, like, business coaches have so many things to give. There's no way I could have it all. So, if you guys have any other people, post them. I love learning from other people. Like, I feel so good about it. So, feel free to post it in the group. We'll all learn from the humans. And, Tammy, start with a win. How are you feeling?
Let's see. My win, I think, what's a good win? What did I do that was really cool? I think for me, it's getting myself comfortable with focusing, leading with mindset stuff on my social media. Cause like posting debt and finance it's easy for me.
Mhm.
And so the stretch for me is my, oh gosh, what did Missy call it? My antelope instead of my mouse. So like, I feel like
Yes.
that now is kind of my mouse.
I
Or it,
That's such a good way to,
I mean, it's a good size. It's a good size, right? So it's like I have my different level tiers of things. Sorry, I'm like cold. I have different level tiers of things, and I want to lead with my high ticket so that I can price anchor.
Mhm.
That being said, this kind of ties into my question that I asked that I wanted coaching around in the stream. And
Mhm.
it basically it's okay, do I or don't I throw my pricing out there so that people are like, okay, she charges this amount. It's very clear and upfront. And part of me is like, well, why would I do that? I'm so glad you asked. Why I would do that is because then it price anchors and it saves time from people going, ooh, I wonder how much she charges. Also, I don't want to have to convince people to work with me. I'm either a good fit or I'm not. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I want to be able to pre-qualify who is and is not serious. And I feel like hey, this is what we charge, this is our pricing, someone's either going to say, gosh, girl, I would love to work with you, but I don't have the finances for it. Then I could have a conversation about my mid tier or my lower tier or my free tier, right? But
Mhm.
then, like, because I believe in having something to offer at every price point, including free. And so, why not? Why I don't want to put my pricing out there? I think I'm actually scared. I think like it's there's elements of people pleasing and comparison and competition in there. There's elements of oh crap, people know how much I charge. What if that comes back to bite me? What if I do a price increase and I get negative feedback? Or what, you know what I mean? Because I've had evidence in the past where I have done a price increase because of how much more I've invested in myself, and like I'm still flushing out and defining who my ideal avatar is, my ideal client. And so it keeps shifting slightly and evolving. Because at one point it started out as like, let me just help anybody who's living and breathing. And
Mhm.
yes, that's a desire, that's great. And also I don't have the capacity to help everybody who's living and breathing with an account.
Okay.
Like a bank account who has financial issues or whatever. Like I desire to up level and increase.
Yeah.
Um
Here's the thought I
I
have for you.
yeah.
Similar to Jess's coaching, with these, I want you have been keeping up momentum, right? We've had momentum with and without the price increase, right? Or without listing the prices, right? So I would love for you to sell yourself on listing your price, because I think it's sounding like logistically, you're like, okay, logically, these are things that I would like to do. It seems like this is like reasonable. And I think your subconscious is scared. So I would like for
Very.
you, and when I say sell yourself, I mean coach yourself until you sign the next. How many spots do you have open?
I have two right now because one of my goals is to clean up my calendar and then get my little bunnies. Those are the people who like cancel and have to readjust and like emergencies and unexpected, because I coach mommies too. And mommies are really like lots of unexpected things. And so I want to be flexible for them. And at the same time, like I want to go, okay, I have X amount of spots amongst my admin stuff, amongst my debt. Like I have a bunch of balls I'm juggling. And so like I want to clean up my schedule so that I can actually know how many spots I have. So that's one of my things I want to do between this week and
Okay.
next week.
So yeah, okay, so let's find out how many spots you have first. That's step one. Find out how many spots we actually have. Step two, sell out them, get that going. And then while you're selling out those spots, I want you to think every day about why listing your price is awesome, why it is not going to be people pleasing. Coach yourself around all these things until then. It might take a month or so, but then you're not so sometimes what I do see, if there is a shift there are, and this is not at all saying that this is going to happen, but when you do something like listing your pricing and things like that, it does change the way you sell, the way you market, and you might have some sort of a shift. So essentially, like, I decided that for this round of pre-enrollment for the mastermind, I am launching without doing consults. I know logically it is a skill that I want to learn how to do, and I want to learn how to sell a 5K offer from no consult. I think it'll be valuable for the long term of my business. However, I am sold out until April. I feel so like great about, like, I've got 97K of receivables. I'm feeling good. And so then I could list my price, shift those things in my business with that cushy cash cushion, the cushy cash cushion, and be like, I am good. So if there is somewhat a dip in my sales, if people don't buy right away, when I list the price increase and maybe people don't book consults as frequently as before, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it doesn't hurt my business at all. Because I'm also sold on it, and I also have this cushion. How do you feel about that?
I think I think
Or it
what's
could just
coming
be
up
like
to me is
2
the
people.
fact that I don't have the cash cushion. And this was something I was thinking about when you were talking about like these systems and these metrics and, gauge these things. And it's like, okay, cool. I know it's sowing seed and it's collecting evidence of, okay, is my time going to yield something that is worthwhile, right? Like meaning income and or lives impacted or whatever, right? But then the other part of it is, okay, what about when you need or desire to make income immediately? What are the immediate things to focus on? Because like my brain is going, okay, evidence heavy is what helps me to have quick shifts. So like I'm always looking for evidence that will support the thought and or because like I'm struggling with switching the thought so that like be do have, like I get to be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
person who that.
So that's why I'm saying, if we're working on your B, let's just stick with the current B. Do what you've been doing as you shift your self concept. That's such a good way to think about it. So it's like you are currently making money in your current self concept right now. Like your business is like generating revenue, and we see the future B is here. You're like, I see this as the next person I'm becoming. While you become like while you're selling yourself every day, like, I'm going to be doing these prices, like, it's like, this is the kind of person, I put my pricing up, I feel great about it, then you will be able to generate quick income here. Now, for the why, so I think that you're, do you think that immediately you would create income if you listed your price? Is that the thought that you're saying?
No, I don't know. I have a friend who's in marketing and she's like, throw your price out there. Stop wasting time with people who are just kicking tires. And I'm like, oh, I could see that. And she's like, you have resistance. You need to flush that out. And I'm like, oh, she's right.
Right. And so I think that, like, we can still have resistance, flush it out, but simultaneously not triggering your nervous system to stop signing people. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that I don't want to do. Because when I listed, like, I just wouldn't, does that make sense? So it's like, I don't want you to like list your price and be like, oh my God, people pleasing. Oh my God, comparison. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you know how much I charge? And go into like this like spiral of like kind of just like energetically, like just being like, ah, to like all the people. When that happens, I want you to be like, of course I'm listing my price. It's the best price ever. I'm sold out. And that's why I'm listing my price, because I'm super confident in it. If you were, I would say that if these things didn't exist, if you were to say reasons why not, I want to learn how to sell to the, I want to learn how to sell to everybody. If you had listed why nots that weren't your thoughts, I would say go for it. But these are all thoughts that I think could hold you back, that I don't want you to have to work on simultaneously while you're taking this action.
Okay. So then like what I'm hearing you say is like the recipe for this is me to do that thought work on why I can put my price out there,
Mm-hmm.
why people need to know my pricing up front,
Mm-hmm.
or why they get to rather. Um,
on
and
all-
then also, of course, like the belief triad, why it's worth it, why what I do works.
and clean up this stuff too. Not just selling yourself on the positive, but clean up the not necessarily negative, but like clean up the discrepancies too. So like
Yeah.
do it an unintentional to intentional model. And then I think I mentioned this to somebody else, but talking about like what are 5 reasons why after doing thought work on those, then do 5 reasons why listing my price. It's like why my next step is to list my price. But I think there's a merit in coaching yourself on a decision without taking the action immediately. And I think that like that's what I was saying with the group. I coached myself on like what Jess was saying. I coached myself to be ready for a group right away. I was ready for it. And then I did that from there. I didn't necessarily need to start the group right away. So I put it on like people could say like the Stacey says like on the nightstand and things like that. So 5 reasons why my next move is to put my price up. My price up and why I love that. Like you want to be like, I love my decision to do that before you do it. Now, I like 'cause if these weren't thoughts, I would be like, for sure, go for it, put up your price. But I know that if you've got thoughts there, it's gonna show up in your results.
Okay. And
You know what I
then
mean?
like, yeah, I do know what you mean. That makes sense. So then basically it's thought work, why I can put my price out there, thought work through the why not. So that way, when I do go to put my price out there, the frequency is in alignment. There's nothing
Yes.
stopping me from showing up full force for the discovery calls and things. And then thought work on when I'm ready to increase my to put then the reasons why my next move will be to put my price. And then if I want to price like bump up my price.
Yes. And being like, and then be like, when I list my pricing, this is the best reason why, and those kind of things. So
Okay.
freaking good. Oh,
Okay.
Missy
And
will
then
miss ya.
okay. And then what would you say, like, in terms of like low hanging fruit? Because, like, right now, like, I think my issue is that my cycles are out of sync because I wasn't tracking certain things that you highlighted today. And
Mhm.
I'm getting to go, oh, crapola, I need to generate income yesterday so that I can get things back in sync.
Yep. So you have like it's like I would define how much income you want and need to generate right now. And then for me, I know that like the skill of learning how to be like, okay, it's like I just need to generate this right now. I see that my business is going to one-on-one. I see this is best need for me right now, and I need $500 to pay this credit card bill. So I'm going to sell 5 debt spots. You know what I mean? We can see as the CEO the long-term strategy and be like, we know that selling one-on-one is your antelope. We know that that is our goal, that we are absolutely going to be focusing on that. And if you're saying that you need $500 quick cash, selling like 5 of those debt consultations could be a way that you can, but I want you to figure out what those numbers are.
Yeah,
What
I
is the
thought
number that
about
you actually
that.
need?
I thought about that, and then it was like, well, it rather than going after 5 debt consults, which is a 5-hour commitment, what if I went after one debt blaster, which is my mid-ticket tier, which is 2,500, and
Sure.
it's a 6-hour commitment. However, it's that much more in income.
I think that that works for you as long as it's not a part of the long-term strategy. Because I think that you've gained a dependence on the mouse. It's like I think that that's what like the business is running on, and we recognize that we want to move to the antelope, and you're finding an in between. So you're like, I'm bridging the gap from my current business model to my new business model, and I think that works. I think that totally works. As long as you are like again, mostly selling the resilient life afterwards.
Hmm. Okay. Because like I could see where I'm going mouse and then whatever animals in between and then the antelope.
Possum. So it's like we're gonna sell the possum for us a minute and but I think that would be how does that feel? So it's like you're learning the skill of selling a higher ticket offer. I think that like And if you think about I think that that totally works, but figure out how many. And then remember, we want to be learning the skill of selling the higher ticket offer to hit your revenue goals in a simpler way this year.
Okay. I think, yeah.
Tammy, you got this. I'm like, I think that how many would it be? Just one of these offers? Be like, I've got a one-time thing, market it once, bring in one person, and then move back to resilient life. Could you do that?
Like my possum being my debt blaster. Yeah. So like I could
Yes.
pop it in my stories. I could pop it on my actual page and talk about.
And just be like, one time, sell one spot, and I want you to just focus on that this week, protect the profit, and then move. Like, I think you can sign one person this week, probably.
Mhm.
Let's do that. Just one though. Give your brain that dopamine hit. Hey, I'm safe. I've got the income. And now I'm moving back to being like 100% resilient life.
Okay. So don't get sucked into the possum is what you're saying.
I'm seeing you getting potentially sucked into the possums because you got sucked into the mice. And I'm like, I know you. And I'm like, let me just like clarify. This is so good.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's helpful.
Of course. Now
Oh,
I
and
have
also
more.
I put the post, I put my girls' contact info for those who are looking for an accountant in our stream so that we wouldn't disappear from chat.
Hell yes. Love this. Thank you, Tammy. You are awesome. And we'll talk about how does that say PSPR? P&L later. Now, Sharon, I have some more time, and Anise, I have another 30 minutes. Do you guys have time? Is it like, I know Sharon, amazing. And
Yeah.
Sharon, I think you had your hand up and then you brought it down.
Well, Anise can go before me because she's in a different time zone.
You're so sweet. I love you guys so much. Like, how thoughtful. Okay. Anise, win and then quick coaching.
Yes. Can I just tell you, Megan, that Sharon and I had like a lovely 2-hour conversation last Friday. How lovely is that?
I love that so much.
It was so lovely. It was such a
That-
lovely way for me to finish on a Friday. That's not my win. That was just an absolute bonus.
I'm just gonna say this is like a win because I'm just like very excited because like my friends and masterminds I've been in are like my friends for life. And
Yeah,
I just love it.
exactly. No, she
Incredible.
reached out to me as well. Yeah, I've had a much, much better week. Thank you.
glad.
My win, I did a round table today with 8 sales directors, having never done a round table before. And yeah, it was good.
Fuck yes. I was like, I love this. And I think that yours is such a great, like I was talking with Jess, that could also be like a thing that you do. You'd be like, hey, I would like to help your founders and leaders, but all the good thoughts. Give me what would you like some coaching on?
Yeah, so a little bit of interesting sort of slight jealousy stroke fuck, how did you Megan go out and network and get all those consults? So that's what came up. That was my thought, right? Which
I hear
is a little
you.
oh, I thought I was quite good at networking. Oh, obviously not as good as Megan because obviously right. So that's what's my thought. Okay, let's be
Oh,
completely honest.
brains. I
Right?
was
My
like,
brain.
oh,
Yeah.
I
So-
totally get it though.
Yeah, so that's okay. That is what it is. So I kind of want, and I was speaking a little bit about this to Sharon on Friday. Like, I have this thought that if I was better at selling, I would be getting consults. Right? And we've discussed this, but it's still there because obviously it's come up with jealousy and envy with you. So whatever the right word is, sorry. Appropriate.
I was like, we could go with jealousy. I totally am here for that.
Yeah. So I think that's still the thought. And I've got a networking thing tomorrow night. And I kind of want to get this out with you so
Yes.
that I can wake up tomorrow and do my good thought work so that I rock up and network the fuck out of it tomorrow. But not from a
Yes.
place of I've got to be brilliant at this because my God, if Megan can do it, so can I, blah, 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 bollocks.
Yes, we don't want to be doing it from that place. And like what I want you to also see is like my circumstances are always different. There are people who have done more than me and made less than me. There are people who have done less than me and made more than me. It's all about it in all of us. You know what I mean? So let's think about with your goals.
Yes.
What is your goal? How many consults do you want? How many clients do you want? And let's focus it in on like this month. Like right now, what is your goal?
I still want 5 clients this month.
Okay.
Still want 5 clients.
So when we're thinking about, again, the kind of like reverse engineering your goal, this thought is going to be a piece of it. If I was better at selling, I'd be getting more consults. But your
Mhm.
brain is just trying to solve for the problem of more consults, right? It's trying to figure out how to get more consults.
Yes.
And it thinks that the problem is selling.
Mhm.
What I want to offer is that it could be a mix of your ability to sell, or it could be a mix of we need to switch up A line. We need to switch up this. There are so many different ways that we could go about it. And we can say it from a way that, like, if I was better at selling, I'd be getting more consults. That kind of puts you in a stuckness that I just feel like is not going to, if we think about that, your brain thinks that by saying that to you, it's going to motivate you and get more consults. Maybe like somehow, like some kind of like reverse it. It's like, well, if I was better, then I'd get more consults because it really wants you to get more consults. But we know that if we stay in this mindset, then it's probably not going to serve your business long term, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so if we're thinking about that, maybe we need to increase your skills with selling, but how would we know? Like you see what I mean? But like if I was better at selling in general, I'd be getting more consults. We
Yes.
want to, whenever your brain starts to brain like this, like, oh my God, like for me, I always compare myself to DL, who I absolutely love. And I'm like, she was only in business for 3 years and she made 1 million and she made 300,000 with a full-time job. And I'm like, and she's 3 years younger than me. And I was like, all of the thoughts. I'm like, and she didn't, it's like, how did she do that from like right out the gate? Like, it was just like, kind of like, that's where my brain goes as well. So welcome. It's normal. But let's
Mhm.
think about, okay, so if I was selling, if I was better at selling, I'd be getting more consults. How many consults? Like 5? How many consults would you use as the benchmark for you?
Okay, let's look at it
Let's
practically.
let's like just make it
How
objective.
many days have I got left of the month? How many hours have I got? For
Let's do it.
actually, I tell you what, my couple of weeks are we've only got 6 days until the end of the month.
Okay. So what we want to do in the 6 days we've got left.
Yeah.
And we can always like, so I made 120 and my goal was 160. It's actually more like 300 last year.
Mm.
And I found that it usually takes me around 2 years to actually figure out how to accomplish my goals. So maybe we just need to take 2 months of really like focused, clear action with clear thoughts and clear feelings to make this happen. So in
Fine.
2022,
I don't,
you know what I'm
that
saying?
that goal that we put down, I don't believe it.
I don't think so. I was like, so let's do a goal you believe.
Because I've got so much on till the end of the month. I don't even have time for consults in. So that's really interesting, actually. But anyway,
I know, because your brain's like, if I was better at selling, or maybe if you had more time. Maybe we
yeah,
said
but-
that could also be a thing that could be, so it's like there are a bunch of reasons. Let's just use those reasons from like a really positive, forward, momentous
yeah.
place versus like, oh my God, it's like the that kind of a thought. So it's like, would one client, do you feel like that feels better?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so what would it take for you to sign one client? And we're just thinking as a CEO, instead of, because I think this is making it a lot about you and your abilities and things like that, versus being like, as a CEO, I want to learn the skill of selling one client in 6 days.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that this is a valuable skill. I see this is going to serve my business quite long term, right?
Mhm.
and this is going to help me in the long term, my business. So if we're thinking about the one client in 6 days, first off, what would you need to think and feel instead of like, if I was better at selling, I'd get more consults? What could you think instead? And I think Sharon has put she put an awesome thought. She said, I'm good at selling because I'm good at inspiring people into action by listening to their needs and letting them know how I can help. Or Tammy said, people need what I have, and I bring life and impact with generation that's generational with every yes. So like you can think about those kind of things. Like, what do you think is the thought of a person who signs, like either for you right now or a person who signs a client in 6 days? How can we access that thought?
Um, I can really support this person. They need me, and I can really, with my product, with me, with them, me having their back, they will succeed. Yeah.
Do you want to notice something that is really, really interesting?
Mhm.
This has nothing to do with you or your ability to sell.
I know, it's all about them.
All about them. So this means that you as a CEO are shifting, which is huge, to being like all of us have to learn how to being like, this is always focused on ourselves and is so normal. Nothing has gone wrong. And it's shifting to think about them as much as possible. So it's like, I want to give every single thing I possibly can to support this one person. I know that they're there. I know they need me. And I know with having me having their back, they will succeed. How does that feel instead of that like moment, whatever the emotion might be?
Yeah, which is, it's all about me. And also
That's okay.
something you, no, boy, I mean, it's all about me. Something really resonated last week, which was about, this is about systems. And I feel that if, without sounding like I'm saying the same thing, I feel like if I have a system, but not robotic, but a way that always works when I'm networking, then I will feel
Safer.
yes, and I won't therefore go back into tripping myself up again. But I'm saying that, and I don't want it to be like, you know, the kind of trite selling thing of like, well, if I just say these words and those words and those words, and suddenly there's going to fall into my lap. It's not like that. But it is that sense of maybe reverse engineering. Maybe it's like, okay, when I walk into a networking session, let's think about the people that I can really help, and they're in this room, and I'm going to go find them because they need me, and I've got a limited amount of time tonight. Stop faffing about, Anise. Go and find the people that need you and find out what's going on in their lives, and then tell them how you're going to help them.
Yes.
Really intentional, which is up to now. I've been very much like, oh, let's just see what happens, which is great. But I think I'm trying to work out now a way that's much more, thanks, Tammy, which is much more like, I've got something really, really powerful to offer, rather than waiting for people to come to me and it like being a bit like, God, it's late. Coincidental, thank you. Let's be much more proactive is the word that you've used before, but again, intentional. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like for me, I was like, I don't know why I had zero people in my audience, but it did make me scrappy as fuck. And now I can help my clients be super scrappy. I was like, that like became a strength that I now teach other people. So maybe these founders also need to learn how to find their people. Maybe it's taking them a harder time. And the skill that you're learning by yourself is exactly what you're meant to help them with.
Yeah.
Scrappy just means like I had to get like in there. Like I was like
It's like a
instead of
dog.
like letting people come to me, I was like, I will go out and find you if it's the last thing I do. I was like,
Yeah.
every day I will find the humans. I was like, I don't care if I am doing like talking to 50 people a day, I will make it happen.
Yeah, it's a bit like when you were saying, when you were showing us your lead generation, like you could go through a profile and you're like, yeah, I can help them. When I heard you say that, I was like, that is such a, you're so clear on that. I know it's, blah, 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 but I need to, and I'm getting clear as well. Like
That's what I
really,
was saying.
and also, I don't know if I said this like a couple, I don't know, last week when I had a really, really nice networking session. And the people that I were meeting were these amazing women founders. They're doing fucking amazing work. And I was like, I want to be your coach. Not because
Did you
you're
tell
gonna
them that?
Well, I did actually. I said, I did. I went, oh my God, I've just found my people. I felt so loved up, I'm leaving. Such an English person.
I love it. But we need to stay. Tell them it's like, no, we need to ask them, hey, I would love to do something for you guys. I would love to, like, I said, you guys are my people. I figured out this thing. I think it's
Yeah.
really fucking cool. I think you guys are gonna love it. It is this thing that I teach my clients. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. I would love to help you with this. And
Yeah.
be like, it's like when you go in and you're like, okay, it's like with your amazing founders being like, it's like, can I talk to you
Yeah.
about like the prioritization plan?
Yeah.
Can I talk to you about like the champion every day? Let me talk to you about like each of these different things.
Yeah.
What we can do is then you can start doing those presentations, showing up as a leader for them, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And that we can add to your A line.
Tell me what A-line means again.
Oh, actions. So it's like these are the actions. So it's like this is the feeling,
Mhm.
this is the thought, and then actions result.
Mhm.
So it's like we can like think about, okay, so what we want to do is we want to be just like what I told Jess is like in the next 6 days, each day, I want you to think about what you would need to do to sign this next person. Like non-robotic way to do networking. What else would you do in these next, like I would say on your, I'm going to recommend some actions to take on your story daily, posting the text testimonial that I think I sent in the group. You know what I'm talking about? Like where it's like I text myself a client result
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be like,
Yep.
I do you know what I'm talking about? It's in
Nothing
here
else.
somewhere.
Yeah,
I'll find
nothing.
it, send it. The other thing is I would post like that. I think you have a post about repost program to
I'm gonna
story
redo that.
and be
That's
like
on the to-do list. Yes, thank you.
spot open now and include the link.
Okay.
I would
thanks.
love if we do this every single day.
Okay.
Awesome. I would
Okay.
also love to see you talking, reaching back out to like the 10 founders, like 10 people a day. It doesn't have
Thanks.
to be for all 6 days, but like let's try and talk to them and be like, hey, it's like I want to see how things are going. I know that with the beginning of the year, I know things can be like it's almost like you just finished getting out of like I want to help you manage your time, burnout, confidence, like whatever it might be. It's like tell me like what's going on for you. Are you still with this company? What's going or not company? How is your company doing this year? And then going with it from there.
And I think what I really like about this is for me, it's like another system. It's like, let's put this in for 6 days. After 6 days, let's evaluate, right?
Literally.
This is the way
Yes.
my brain thinks. Like this is good because it's tangible. This is stuff that I can do. And then and I am totally getting into this. And I'm getting quite excited by lead generation. I'm becoming such a sado, but I do love it. But there is that sense of like you still feel like you're sending smoke out into the atmosphere. You're just still not sure if you're going to get results, and that can demotivate you. But I think having for short my like short term and saying, what did I get back from that? I might not have got a consult, but I might have got, and just see. And I'll check in with you guys next Tuesday and say, guess what? I did that for a whole week, Megs, and this is what happened.
And remember, there's a 90-day rule as well. So don't get like, it's like, it usually takes 90 days of consistent action to see a result. So 90 days of this, but we're starting with 6. See how it goes. And then we can tweak from there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Let's fucking go. Oh,
Absolutely. It's okay. I love it.
love it.
Okay.
And I'm so proud of you, Anise. And reach out to all those people who you talked to at the round table today. Be like, by the way, I do have a spot open for one-on-one coaching. Let me know if this is something that you'd be looking for.
Okay.
8 of your 10. Let's go.
Okay. Thanks, love.
Of
Thanks, Sharon.
course. Sharon, I got you.
Mm.
What question do you have?
Okay, I start with a win.
Yes. Give your win.
Okay, so my win, I think my biggest win was probably inspiring my client to thinking that she can, like, she was finally seeing where her having a business of her own was possible.
Oh my God. Huge.
So
What do you
just
want? Mhm.
that possibility thinking, like, I think it's becoming, it's more, she's being able to see the vision, if that makes sense.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how can I coach you to get even more people working with you today?
Okay, so I would say I would like to go, like, my goal for this next 6 days should be bringing in a client as well.
Let's go.
Anise and I will both do that. So I had my coaching, I'm going to take everything that you just previously coached on, but I did have a consult on Friday.
Amazing.
And so I felt like, I think there was connection. However, I think my mind was a little bit more of getting it right. And I might have not been in the moment listening. I still listened, but I don't think I could have more actively listened and connected. So actively listened to connect to the client better. So, and again, it's just a learning curve. I did find, like, when we talked about going over the pillars, and like when they talk about, like, rate this 1 through 5, and then what would make it a 10, and then you go in and you put in your pillar,
Paint the vision. Mhm.
painting the vision. Yeah. Going back and forth between them, I thought this time, the first time I gave a consult, I thought it worked well. This time it didn't seem to work as well. So when it got to, like, I think the second one that we were going over, it might have been after time management, then I kind of just let her keep saying what she was struggling with. And then I came back with that, and I put together a plan for her and sent that later. I think the other part of it is too, when I talked about my price, I don't think I addressed the objections as well as I could have by getting more and more curious.
Mhm.
And I think part of that too was because I'd already gone an hour and 15 minutes.
Gotcha. I was like, especially like if we're like, I think a lot of times at the beginning, this is exactly how it goes. It's like you're like, oh shit, and also here's my price. Please say yes and adios. Like I know you probably have to go. So I want to say that this is something that's going to shift with time. And I want to think about, like, as I want to get everybody in here to be like, I want you to be like, I want to get you into your CEO mindset first, and then I want to give you like my tidbits. So what do you think you would like to do better for this next time? And then I've got ideas too.
I think that what I learned on this one was, instead of so much trying to have the right words, because I think I had a little bit of people inside my head a little bit as far as trying to find the right words instead of just being Sharon.
Yes. Be Sharon. I would say for you, we want to do is I'm going to give you autonomy, the leader of this movement that you're creating with your career coaching. Is I will give you things that I want you to adapt, adopt, and abandon as need be. So if the formula we want to know, because that's like just something that's proven, that's one of the things that we want to do. It's like, okay, so this is something that worked for me. And I also want to have the autonomy to be like, okay, I'm going to switch this around a little. I want to do this a little bit differently. I want to do this a little bit differently. I think that that is like where you find the sweet spot of exactly what you want to do for, in general, for everything in your business. Now, one of the things that when you said that you put together a plan and said it later, or it sent it later, one of the things that I would just also offer is talking them through the plan before you talk about the price.
I did that.
Okay, so you did and then
Yeah, I did that. It's just, I still like go ahead, and I did that with my previous client. I went ahead and whatever was talked about, and how do I say, whatever was talked about during the consult, I shared the plan with them during the consult, but then I also send it after the consult. And
perfect.
how do I say it? I probably massage it a little bit more, that it just, I massage it a little bit more when I'm writing it than what I said on the consult. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes
I
when you're
totally
talking
get
about it,
that.
it's not as so smooth. Can I share?
Of course.
Okay. This might just get,
Because I think that you shared your other one with us, but also for everybody who does a consult ever, you can put your evals in the stream too. So like if you want to put that in there, I got you.
and the reason why I was gonna, where'd it go? Oh, it's
Here it
coming
is.
up on a different screen. Okay. Didn't mean it to come up on a different screen.
Love. I could see it. I was like rating 2 to 3 and then rating
Okay.
3 long
Yeah,
term.
so this was where, and this is actually kind of helpful for me to go back and write this, simply because it gave me the opportunity to know the words that people were saying. So I used that words from this particular client and what she was saying, and I probably should have hid that. But anyways, what she was saying, so I made sure like I was putting it back into her words. And I did, when I went over the plan with her on the call, I did utilize her words as well. So it helps me with like copy, so I know when I'm speaking to my customer avatar, because this is actually a real person that I had, but it's still making sure that I'm having those words that people are connecting with. Not talk about, people might not say work-life balance, but what are the words that they're using that saying I work to, what they're saying. But this was just what I did find is that I'm finding with more people with, like, I did this with my current client. A lot of them, like, I go over the time management, and I'm not saying this in what I found is that people are also needing help with their interviewing and resumes and all that kind of stuff, so they can get the next job that they want or something along those lines. So now I'm putting that in there as well. So, and the reason why I was sharing this is just, so I am connecting them with the plan. I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do even better.
Yeah. So I would say that when we're talking to a person who is looking to purchase from us, just
Mhm.
the extra added layer. I think that you mentioned in the beginning, you were like, I wasn't listening as much as I was trying to get it right. I want you to listen. You mentioned like that she wants to switch her career, right? So other things that you could do if you wanted to now this person might not be a great fit. It's like this might not be the person for your program. If they want to switch careers though, I would be like, I would love for you to switch your career. And your program is 6 months. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, I would love for you to be transitioning your career by March. Like, and like actually saying, like, being like, okay, so it's like, I see that we're going to need to really strategically plan your time. So if you want to start together this week, this is the exact things that we would be doing. I would love for you to bring your calendar, really painting the vision at that point, but being like, talking about the price of a new job, because it sounds like if there was a price objection, that they didn't see the value in that you could make them that much more money and then some.
She didn't really object. She just, when I shared the price, she was like, sticker shock. And she said that she knew that coaching was expensive and that she knew that she would have to look at the budget. And I think I probably should have, and I got curious and I asked some questions, some follow-up questions, but I probably could have done even more so as well too. However, it's finding that balance in between when to
When to ask.
continue asking and yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So what I would say for you, like the sticker shock, like that might happen in the future. However, if we're thinking about what you can do differently for this client and for clients in the future, is oh my God, I just had it. I just had it and it just deleted from my brain. Oh my God. I was like, I had such a good thing. I'm like, you know when it's like on the tip of your tongue and it just like totally went out my brain. Um, creating a plan for them. Sticker shock. Oh, did she say yes? Did she say no? Where did the consult end up?
So she said she ended up needing to think about, we scheduled a follow-up call for next Friday because she had some events. And then last night,
She
actually,
canceled.
when I was on the webinar, no, she didn't cancel. She let me know that there was something else that came up that she got accepted into. And so that's the path that she was going to take. But she did say that she appreciated my style of coaching. And she also said she would pass my information on to any friends or colleagues that needed a career coach.
Okay. I was like, so I don't even think I think it's like what could go even better. Being more Sharon, of course. Figuring out how like that listening instead of saying the right words, I think is great. But I also would not consider this as a consult. Like I think if I am looking for feedback on a consult, it's usually because I want to feel like I did better because I feel like I might have not done something great. And I want to offer that you did a phenomenal job. Maybe if she continued on the same career path, she would have worked with you. And if she's referring you to other people, whether she does or not, it sounds like she had a really good experience.
Mhm.
Now, the only other thing that we could just improve for next time would be timing. It sounds like. Because if it went for an hour and 15, then that's the only logical thing that I'm hearing from you that we could have done even better. And that's going to happen with time. I would say finishing up with the pillars and explanation by minute 45.
Mhm.
So if you have any ideas for why it might have gone long, so you could actually talk through more objections, that'd be the next step. But I'm like, I think you did a great job. I think that it sounded like it was a really good consult. The things that you listed were extremely compelling. And feel free to like, if you think that maybe wasn't the case, let's think about that. But it doesn't sound like it. I think that you were on the right track.
And like I said, again, I don't think it went poorly. I just always want to learn and grow from each experience. And that's
Yeah.
how I was looking at it as well. So I just wanted to, I was evaluating too, what else I can do, what I can learn from this one to make the next one even better.
Exactly. So getting that 45 minutes, like making a decision around minute 45 would be like the next area for growth. That's what I would say, along with like being yourself.
I think I think what happens with the time is that's one of the reasons why I liked only focusing on the 4 pillars versus the whole life wheel, because people tell you the whole life story. And where we go over on time a lot of times, and I try to bring it is reining the people into kind of focus back and not get, I don't want to say give enough information, but not too much. Yeah, I think that's the key, is reining them back in a little bit, because when somebody's burnt out or somebody's having a rough time, they end up going on and on. However, they're kind of telling me the same, they're kind of then telling you the same thing over and over again.
Exactly. And so then you can be like, this is exactly what we do on a coaching call. It's like what I would do. It's like, trust me, I know most of the people that come to me when they are looking for help with their career, they need help with that as well. And I want to offer you that when we're thinking about your career, when we're thinking about you, it's like just giving, and maybe we could start with, did I say this to you or maybe I said it on the last one? Giving them an example to like latch onto and being like within stress management, it's like when you're one is like, I'm really struggling, 10 is like, I'm great. Can you tell me like where you would rank it and just like a sentence about why? Nothing
Mhm.
too in depth. It was like, of course, that's what we would get into like if we started coaching. But if you were to be like, it's like, I'm struggling because my boss is frustrating me, that
Mhm.
you can even give them a sentence as an example and really like focus. Cause I think one of your strengths is that you're a really good listener. And that's what you were saying, like with the networking event. So I think that if this person was from a networking event, they just love talking to you because you're like an incredible listener and that it's fantastic. And we want to guide them and be like stepping into more of a leadership role and being like, this is how I want you to respond to me. I want you to say this. I want you to like give me the best answer you can so I can give you the most help.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think I look at this too, because how to utilize it in networking events as far as listening is key to there to see what it is that they're struggling with and what their problem is. That's where I was saying the listening part of it, and then how I can learn to be even smoothly making that transition into this is how I can help you.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, so because I foresee in the future, you might not be doing a full hour for a consult. You might be doing 30 minutes. And so if that's the case, like recently when I've been doing consults, they're all 30 minutes now. And I'm like, okay, you gotta give me the like, we are doing like a real quick overview. I just want to know the spark notes of your life right now. I want to know the spark notes of your business and being like, it's, and you can even say when you are introducing it and like, we're going to go through each of these categories really quickly within the next 30 minutes. So it's going to be super quick. You're just going to tell me a little bit in each of these categories and then we're going to move. But if you say it like that, you're setting the expectation for them as the leader of the call, as the leader of their future life and career. You're like, yeah, when you work with me, we get things done. We're quick, we're efficient. We do, not that you're not saying that, but like, does that make sense as to being like, the speed of the consult is different than what they might be expecting from you if you set the expectation that this is going to be like a quick, just like intro into your life. If we decide it's a good fit, then we will dive deeper. Having that like perspective, I think could be the next level for you to take this consult and make it even better.
Yeah, I did that with my previous client who I signed, but it was interesting though, because like I told her, I don't know if you've ever done like table topics and Toastmasters, you get 1 to 2 minutes, you give in a subject, and you get 1 to 2 minutes to have that sentence. So
Yeah.
I say, tell me in 1 to 2 sentences. I think for me, they're not always telling me in 1 to 2 sentences, and I just got to rein that in. But with networking events, I would say I'm good at the know, like, and trust part of it. I think that what I need to improve upon is getting them to book a consult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about like how, if we're thinking about, I'm sorry, I realized I'm not sharing my screen. So if we want to bring in a consult in the next 6 days, that's your goal, right? What would we need to do to bring in them? What's your best guess?
I have to meet a lot of people, follow up with a lot of my network, and book consults.
Yes. Follow up with a lot of your network. Let's book some consults. So I love this. It's like, yeah, we just know what to do. It's like so simple, but it might not be when it comes time to talk to people. Your brain's going to be like, ah, so what can you feel instead of like whatever other emotion?
Ah!
Yeah. What is the alternative to that we want to feel intentionally?
Empowered is like the first word that comes up.
Let's go. I like the word empowered. I not always in marketing, but I think in emotions that we know. What can you think to sign this next client while feeling empowered and reaching out to all these amazing people?
I'm going to change the world one person at a time. I don't know.
I love this. And that comes back to like my, like for me, I was always like, I at a time. And I was like, I don't know where they are, but I'm going to freaking find them. Like,
Well, because like I can't remember who was saying it earlier, but there's that's just it. People are really unhappy and they're working and living in lives they do not like. And I understand that because I wish I had somebody like me help me sooner.
Yes. And I think that is going to really, when we're able to see that, I feel like this is going to be a really big, like, I think when you go to reach out to people, it's going to be huge. I really do. This was so awesome, guys. I know we're going way over each time, but I just have way too much fun with you guys. So I love you. And I will definitely, I posted the content. I will be adding the notes as soon as or the video as soon as I close this. But I love you guys so freaking much. Please keep killing it. If you need me, reach out to me and I will see y'all next week. Let's
What's the
go.
best way to reach out to you, Megan, out of curiosity? Email you or just in the stream?
In the stream and tag me. I've actually created more time in my calendar. So now I'm actually creating time to look at the stream every day. So do
Now
the
you have
things,
18
tag
clients.
me, and I'm going to, if I don't respond within like 24 hours, like I'm gonna be better about this, except for the weekend. Over the weekend, I will, 'cause I'm going skiing in Vermont. So I'm like, I
Good
will
for
not
you.
respond this weekend unless I'm on the slopes and I have like a little time to scroll to the stream. But other than that, I am making sure that I am like looking in the stream, making sure I have time for that every day, even over like finding new, like doing the outreach. Cause it was kind of like I had that 30 minutes for outreach and I'm like, I need to like focus on my humans. So that is what I'm doing now. Thank you for your patience for the past couple weeks, but I'm so excited for you guys. And if you have any questions, the stream is great or obvious email's great too.
Thanks,
Amazing.
Megan.
I love you guys.
Can
And
I
I'll
ask
see you
something
next
really
week.
fast?
Soon.
Bye.
How do you tag people in the stream?
Oh, at Megan Wing Coaching.
I've tried and it's not tagging, or maybe on my end it doesn't show.
Feel free to reach out to me and just let me know.
Okay, and then the other thing is I went through and I added formulas to that sheet. I reshared it to you. So if you want to reshare that out, like literally, it'll auto calculate and fill everything out so that it saves people time.
1,000,000%. Thank you
Thanks for your question,
so
Tammy.
much. You're amazing. I love you guys, and I will see you next week, okay?
Thank you.
Bye.